Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Makers Monday. I think right now I'm actually on a plane rushing all the way back to Australia, but I'm really excited to introduce to you someone I just met, an incredible maker and woodworker by the name of Tony Wahi, who runs Wahi Woodworks. He's actually located in the southeast of Tennessee, which was just a few states away from where I was located with a whole bunch of people down at Space Camp. What's really exciting about Tony is that he is a professional woodworker, but as you'll hear from him, he doesn't always like to just make things that are functional, but he loves to put an artistic spin on that. Before we hear from Tony, I would love to invite you to quickly hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, because it really helps us out getting these stories to you, and it's always great to get feedback. So if you like this episode of Makers Monday, quickly hit the thumbs up button or just write a comment below. Let us know how we're going here. As I mentioned to you before, Tony is a professional woodworker, and some of the stuff he's made is incredible. Tony reached out to me with his story, and although I hadn't been aware of his YouTube channel, I was blown away by some of the work he's been able to create. So without going too much into that, I'm going to ask Tony to introduce himself and share his maker journey. Tony, introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, I'm Tony Wahi of Wahi Woodworks. A small wood shop in southeast Tennessee. We ship for anyone interested. Small items ship free. Keep that in mind. Basically, I do a little bit of client work here and there, a lot of built-ins, like fireplace surrounds, things like that. I don't film a lot of that because there's plenty of that content to be had without me throwing my hat in the ring, so I try to keep things a little interesting. Try to. But yeah, that's about it. If you've never seen any of my content, welcome to my shop.
I hear a lot of makers choosing wood to be part of their journey, and I can totally understand that. In fact, recently I've been going down this track myself, kind of exploring wood where before I was using lots of plastics and in fact doing a lot of metal turning. So in your journey, what was the last project that you made?
It's actually sitting right here. I've got 3 of them. They are floating shelves. This piece comes off, you'll fasten that to the wall and then pound that in with a hammer. And made those for my favorite client, my wife, who I charged a hefty sum of nothing. So yeah, that's a fun little thing. I've got 3 of them installed already on one side of the TV, and those other 3 are on the other side of the TV, and we'll put things on them.
Those floating shelves look really cool. In fact, that's something that I want to do in my own home. The idea of actually creating those shelves without any support are incredibly visual and incredibly appeasing to the aesthetic of a room. Well done. It's also really nice to do things around the home, and it's kind of funny that your last client was your wife. I think it's wonderful that you're able to share what you do passionately with your family. That's really great. I'm really curious, Tony, what's your favorite tool in your workshop?
I don't know if I have a favorite tool, but if I had to pick, it would probably be the lathe. I don't do a lot of wood turning, but I would like to. I have a cheap $300 Harbor Freight lathe, and it's done me well. I've got nothing bad to say about it. That's probably the most fun that I have, is just tinkering around on that thing, trying to make shapes. I did a giant chess set for my brother-in-law, big chess table, which was horrible. I'll never make another chess set again, ever. After probably the 13th pawn, it was just like a little piece of me died every time I had to make something on that thing. But it's fun. It's fun to turn on the lathe. If you haven't tried wood turning, I suggest giving it a try. I will tell you that my most used tools, the most valuable tools in this shop, are the chop saw and the table saw, which is right there. They're invaluable in any shop. I've got them close. I can touch both of them. You know, I can go straight from the chop saw right to the table saw. I can cut to length and rip to width. Invaluable. If You can build pretty much anything with just those two tools and a drill and some screws.
I also totally understand where you're coming from with the chess set. Doing something repetitiously over and over again can get kind of boring, but I love that sort of challenge because usually I learn that skill and refine it over and over and over again. It sounds like the chess set came out okay. At least it sounds like you were happy with it. But I would actually love to see what that result would be and maybe even readdress that in the future. Just to see if you can go in and pull that piece out to that same level that very first time. That was your last project, but do you have a favorite one?
You know, probably the one I'm most proud of would be that chess set, because I was very much a novice wood turner at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna make a chess set. And I did, and it took me like 2 or 3 tries and lots of cursing and throwing things across the room. But I got it done, and it looks good. If I can figure out how to put some pictures in here, I'll do it. I don't know if I can figure that out though, because I make things out of wood. I don't do the computer thing very well. My favorite type of project to work on is just things to look at. Something to hang on the wall, just art, if you will. I just think there's something kind of cathartic about it. Just making something that's not, it's not a table, it's not for sitting things on, it's not a chair, it's not for putting your butt on. It's just to appreciate. And I think that's neat. My favorite project is is these. I made some nunchucks. And I'm very proud of these nunchucks. I usually release a video every Sunday, and I was sitting around one Monday morning watching the Ninja Turtles movie, the real one, the one from 1990, which is the OG Ninja Turtles movie. The new ones with the CGI are trash, and you know it. You know it. Anyway, I was sitting around on a Monday watching Ninja Turtles like any responsible adult would be doing on a Monday morning. And the scene with Michelangelo and the little duel with the guy from the Foot Clan came on, and I was like, I'm gonna go make some nunchucks, and dang it, I did. So I usually release a video every Sunday, but this was a little bonus. This took me really only a couple hours to make. These are old bootlaces. So they're not really legit nunchucks because these bootlaces will stretch and all kinds. I'm not gonna nerd out about nunchucks on you, but that's probably my favorite project that I've ever built, ever. They're very fun to play around with, and if you do decide to play around with nunchucks, wear shoes, because you will drop them, and they will hit your foot, and it will hurt.
Here we go again, back to the chess set, and I kind of like the fact that you came back and addressed that again. It sounds like it was a real project of skill, and it's something that that from the photos that I've seen, it was an absolute accomplishment, especially on something like a lathe. It's those kind of skills being repeated that allow you to take a skill and turn it into an artistic venture when you don't have to actually think about how to do it, but you can express yourself through that actual workflow and that mechanism. Well done. It really looks amazing. Those nunchaku are really impressive. And in fact, I think the Ninja Turtles are pretty cool myself. We must be of similar age. I was actually lucky enough to work on a project that was tied into that whole franchise in the 90s. So I can totally get where you're going from the movie. It was pretty spectacular. It's really nice that you're able to make something like that and not have to destroy it. Unfortunately, where I am in Australia, those are completely forbidden. So if I were to create something like that for a project, I'd actually have to break them or destroy them afterwards. So it's kind of nice that you actually have them. And it's kind of really interesting too. I'm not sure if people know this, but they were used by farmers, and they would actually take the 2 pieces of wood with a rope in between, and they would drag them up the rice plant, and that way they were able to harvest the husks very quickly. And as things turned and they were under attack, they used them for self-defense. It's kind of a really humble beginning and a evolution of what they actually became. So it sounds like you're doing some practice with them. Make sure that you don't hurt your feet anymore. And thank you again for sharing that with us. It sounds to me that you're going to get skilled using the nunchucks, but do you have another skill maybe in the workshop that you want to develop?
A skill that I would like to learn, I would like to do more wood turning. I would like to get more skilled at that. I pretty much just use scrapers and things. You know, I use those little carbide kind of, I guess they're scrapers. I don't even really know the terminology, but I got a set from Rockler. Actually, my dad got me a set from Rockler for Christmas. I'd like to get, you know, learn how to use the skew without, you know, almost killing myself or losing an eye, which I'm having problems with that. But again, I don't do it enough. I'd like to get really into wood turning, maybe get into like bowls and some hollow vessels, some vases, maybe segmented wood turning, something along the lines of like Kyle Toth does a really good job, makes beautiful stuff. I would also like to, I mean, there's so many skills that I would like to learn. I'd like to get more into blacksmithing, rather than, I've made a few knives here and there, but I just, you know, I get the 1095 bar stock and I grind away at it with my angle grinder. I'd like to get a forge and actually, you know, ping, 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 you know, get sweaty, get black on my face, maybe take my shirt off, you know. But yeah, I mean, I would also like to really get into using things like SketchUp and other kind of CAD type things. I think that might help. Most of the stuff I build, I just build on the fly. I'll, you know, usually draw stuff out on my workbench and just kind of work as I go. But yeah, any skill, the more skills you acquire, you're just better off overall, because you never know. Like, okay, so I'm really good at working with wood, but maybe working with a different material will put my mind in a different direction, and then I can apply that new knowledge to an old skill I have and get better at it. I mean, that's, you know, that's learning. That's learning. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching. Gil, thank you, Gil, for doing this. You're a good, kind man. You are a good, kind man for doing this. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys on my channel.
Tony, I really want to thank you for coming on Makers Monday. And I want to thank you for answering the call that I put out here to have makers join me to share their story to a wider audience. In fact, if you want to be like Tony and you would like to join us on Makers Monday, please get in touch by hitting the link below or get in touch with me direct. And I would love to help you get your story to a wider audience. As I say many times, I really believe that everyone can find an audience for the work that they create, and I would love to be able to help you get your reach a little bit further. Right now, I'm pretty sure that I'm in a metal tube racing to Australia, so I'm going to say goodbye right now, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of your stories, and I will see you right here in 7 days. Have a fantastic week and go make something spectacular.